Hello there. My name is with my co-host Corey. We are the Real Guys, and this is the Real Show with two ears. Today it's the Battle of Los Angeles, for the battle against the Predator. We are reviewing 1990's Predator 2. As always, I'm calling my co-host Corey. How are you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
And as always, because I didn't plug it in the last episode, you can watch us on the Real Show YouTube channel, on the Real Show, The Real Show. We're on Twitter, on The Real Show, at The Real Show FM, and also on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts. Anyway, get your podcast. We're there. You can listen to us there.
Yes.
Corey.
Hello.
Predator 2.
Correct.
You've never seen it before.
I haven't.
Did you even know about it?
Yeah, I know it existed.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is the first time you've watched this.
Correct.
I'm going to get your fresh takes. Of course, again, the same as the last Predator, 1987. I've seen bits of this. I've seen like the big sort of important cliffhangery moments of this film, which we're going to talk about. But I haven't seen the full thing from beginning to end. This is set 10 years after the events of the first film. Even in the future, this is 1990 and it's set in 1997.
Yep.
So clearly they knew what the world would be like in 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Which I think is reliable. Obviously,
Yeah.
if it was like set in 2005 or something, I don't know, maybe that's for a 1990 film, but 1997, no, realistic.
Yeah.
1997, world was still around then. Right,
Makes sense.
let's step into Predator 2, and we're stepping back in. It's director Stephen Hopkins this time, with the same screenwriters.
Yep.
It's Jim Thomas and John Thomas, and starring the great Danny Glover.
Yes.
So what did you experience as this film kicks off? Did you even think, where's the Predator?
So, the film starts, and in my head I'm thinking, okay, Predator 1 leaves on a cliffhanger. Predator, boom. What happened? Where's Arnold?
Yeah.
What happened to, did he, whatever.
He gets on the helicopter and escapes at the end. The Predator blows himself up.
Yep. And it's like, okay. And then it's like, okay, Los Angeles. And I'm like, okay, right, we're in a city. I'm like, fine, change of scenery. Fine. Makes sense. But, rather than someone just goes back to a jungle again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Danny Glover. Because, so obviously we watched this on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Where you can watch them. And, like, the bio says, like, a cop finds out an alien is killing his police force or something. And I'm like, that's a bit different. But I thought I'll
different.
watch it anyway.
Tonal shift, you think?
And then, like, the film opens and it's like, there's a cop and there's the war gangs and
Gang war.
and it's like, oh, okay, sure, fine, I guess this is
a gang war. Los Angeles is suffering from a great heat wave.
Yes.
And a huge turf war between the heavily armed Colombian and Jamaican drug cartel. The drug gangs are at war, and the police is trying to contain this war before it gets out of hand. Right. There's the gangs. They're well armed and armored, and there's a character called Tony Pope, who is a action news reporter.
Yes.
And he brings us into the scene in the most action news reporter way possible. And I quote here, I've got this down. He says, "Tony Pope, action news reporter, live and in your face." All right, that is so 1997. He goes, "I'm live and in your face at the scene of the shootout," and he is the action news guy.
Yep, he is.
I like his character. I thought he was a bit annoying, but I thought, I like his character. He's like the sleazy journalist, and that's a fun character trope. But of course, Danny Glover is the heroic Michael Harrigan, the police lieutenant. He's out for justice.
Yeah,
and he's here. He stands for justice, and he's with his cop friends about to storm this building and take out this drug cartel.
Yes. By the way, whoever decided that Danny Glover's entrance should be not entrance, but like grabbing like a shotgun and like drifting a car.
Oh, that was awesome.
Further forward so we can get other policemen.
That was so.
Like hanging out the car on the side.
Yeah.
Constantly.
That's such a hero move, though. That's such a hero move where he jumps in the car, he like reverses, and the car breaks the door off. But he does it on purpose. He like skids along, he grabs the shotgun, and he's like shooting on the guys, and then he swings and he picks up the policeman into the car. And it's like, oh, that's so. It almost forgets it's a Predator film for a minute.
Yeah.
And now I'm just watching this cool crime cop film.
Yeah, and then they go in, and again it does this whole similar thing, right? Because they're at the bottom, and like, the glass smashes, and something happens inside, and they all run in, and we're thinking, okay, here comes the Predator.
Here comes the Predator.
And
Here he
again,
comes.
like you mentioned last time, everyone goes, it must be the Voodoo gang. It
Yeah,
must be
yeah.
the Jamaican gang. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah,
Well, we saw the Predator was watching the shootout because we see
Yes.
his heat vision.
Yep.
His thermal vision,
Mm.
and obviously the glass breaks, and the guys are like, "What?" I love people being confused at the Predator. That's my favorite, like, Predator trope, where the glass comes in, like, "Oh, what? Where's the what's that?" I love the confusion
Yep.
of just the Predator attacking.
Yes.
Like, he's invisible, you can't see him moving around. I was like, what? I just think it's great. Just the great confusion the Predator causes when he attacks.
And we do well, again, we see glimpses of it.
Mhm.
There's the part where he's got El Scorpio at the top,
Yep.
and he can see it. And what is Danny Glover's name?
It's
Mike Harrigan. Mike Harrigan can't see it because the Predator's behind him, and he thinks El Scorpio's shooting at him, but he's not.
Yeah, he shoots him off the roof.
And
then
again, like
But he turns around and he still thinks he sees something
Yes.
in the light, but then he gets distracted by another cop who comes
Yep.
to talk to him.
And then obviously you get a whole, like, there's the new detective that's come in.
Yeah, here he is.
Here he is.
It's Bill Paxton, who's fantastic.
Yeah.
God rest him.
Yeah.
As Jerry Lambert, who's just this great LAPD cop. He's just like he is the comic relief, but he's also the sort of sly, cunning cop. He's like the cop on the scene.
Yeah.
He is like a real Magnum PI kind of guy. He's just wheeling around. I think that's great. We've also got he's reprimanded by Danny Glover's reprimanded by the chief. He's like, "You're a loose cannon.
Yeah.
You ain't in control of this situation. You're a loose cannon. You're just off and running and gunning, and that's no good." Says the classic chief archetype.
Yes.
But he sits down with the captain or whoever, and he's like a bit forgiving. He's like, "You've got to, just rein it in. Rein it in, Detective Harrigan." But here comes Gary Busey, and his face.
Yeah.
He's walking into the scene, and they think he's like DEA, but it turns out he knows a bit too much about all this security stuff, right? As Peter Keyes, a special agent, and he's just fantastic.
He is. He's really good in this.
And it's fun to know that his character is actually the replacement. Dutch was going to be this character,
Oh.
played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he declined to reprise the role, which is funny. But
See, that would kind of make sense. Because I guess he would know what it is, so it makes sense that he's defensive of people not knowing what it is.
yeah, and he's also taken off he's like a bit older now, 1997, so he's stopped being in the armed forces. And the Vietnam War.
Whereas
over.
Peter Keyes knows what it is,
That's
but
what
it's
it
just
is.
like really defensive. But
Yeah, but I feel like Arnie. Yeah, but that's why I think it's better being Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Because if it was Arnie, I'd understand that Dutch is more sympathetic towards someone who's also dealing with the Predator and trying to fight the Predator. Why would Arnie want to cover up the fact the Predator exists?
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like Dutch is a man of action. Dutch would respect Harrigan as a man of action. Peter Keyes is clearly this bureaucrat.
Yeah.
This politician who's this special agent who's using his status to like try and cover it up, and is like all about the government. Like the government can't let the people know about aliens. You can't let people know about aliens. We can't let these other governments know about aliens because they might try and help us.
Well,
we can't do that.
Well, Peter Keyes wants to freeze it.
He does.
So he can, find out what it does and how it does it. Weaponry.
We've got
and
also
all
a couple of cool characters. We've got Ruben Blades as Danny Archuluto, who's great as well in the team. And Leona Cantrell, who's just fantastic. I think he's fantastic. And we've got the Chief, obviously. Adam Baldwin, who appears in Key's task force. And of course we've got Morton as Tony Pope, which is great as well. Morton Downey Jr., which is fantastic as in your face, as he says.
Yes.
So I think, and the Predator voice, I mentioned it was Peter Cullen last time. This time it's Hal Rail, and Kevin Peter Hall is back as the Predator.
He is indeed.
Just fantastic.
Yeah. This film is, initially, I was like, right, okay. Because my whole thing with the second Predator film is, you watch the first one, we now know what a Predator is. And we roughly, vaguely know how it works. It's, in the first one, it's suggested by Dutch to Anna, don't pick up a gun.
Yes.
It's not going to harm you because you're not armed.
Yes.
So we're like, right, okay, this is why it's attacking the gangs, this is why it's attacking the police, they've all got guns, they're all armed, it's sport at this point. So we know how it works. We know what it looks like. So it's like, well, how do you do a second one where we now know what the threat is and how the threat works? And this film kind of deals with that, I guess.
Yeah, but the mystique of the Predator is, and I am going to drop a bit of a bomb on you here,
Yep.
Corey, is that the mystique of the Predator is they masquerade as a good sport, but it turns out they're not actually very good sports.
No.
Because at the end of the first film, he tries to blow up Arnie when they're both unarmed.
Yes.
With a self-destruct bomb. He tries it again in this film.
Yeah.
The city hunter, as he's called, or he's also called Ghost, I think, because he's named as Ghost by that kid who says, "Mommy, I saw a ghost." Well, yes, do you want some candy? You know, that kind of the line.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
Okay, but I'm just going to reference this Predator is nicknamed Ghost, but he's also known as just City Predator or City Hunter.
Yes.
Even though again spoilers, some of the predators that turn up at the end as part of the hunting party do actually have actual names.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get into that a bit later as well. All right, what have you got to say?
What, as in the about some candy thing? Or
Yes,
just in general?
about the young boy that turns up in the...
So, my only issue with that is, so again, in the first film...
Why does he not shoot that child in the head?
No.
Okay.
I did have a conversation with a friend, and I was like, that would have been like such a weird like turning point of this film.
He had a gun!
He did! Boom! It's heat vision, he can't tell.
Yeah. You see how he checks?
Yeah, he does.
Checks.
He looks.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy, really.
Yeah.
He just checks if it's real.
Yeah.
No. Fair enough.
It's fine.
If it was armed, though, that kid would be dead.
Yeah. No, but my issue is, though, is like, right, okay. So in the first Predator film, the first Predator repeats anything.
Right.
And he repeats Billy's laugh.
Billy's laugh.
Which is like a menacing kind of like...
He uses it at the end of the
like
film.
Like creepy thing.
Yeah.
In this film, he mimics Danny Boy, which makes sense. Because he says it to Danny and Danny like grabs his arm and dies.
Yeah.
But then like, why is he recording a kid saying, "Do you want?" Because he just use it. But at a random point that makes no sense. And like he swears twice in this film.
He wants to be creepy, yeah, he does swear. He also swears in his actual voice, which is weird.
I'm like, why? He talks like twice in the first film and it's menacing. This one seems a bit jokey sometimes.
From the first film, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
From the first film, it seems that the Predator didn't have language or couldn't talk without using the recording of his own of other people's voices. Which is nice and interesting. Yeah. And it's very it's very dimensional for it to not be able to communicate in like maybe it's like we can't hear his language. His language is like an alien dialect, and he just records the human language or something like that to study it or whatnot.
Yeah.
But here the Predator's clearly been breaking out his dictionary or his thesaurus to learn some new words.
Yeah.
And of course we get a mirroring of that famous Arnie scene where the Predator removes the mask and we get that great line. But
because it's like there's some shots in this film where the Predator is more of like a threat. There's a whole shot of him like with the trophy. I'm going to call it the trophy.
Yeah.
And he's like on the tower and he's holding it in the air and he's screaming and it's like, okay, so he like that's a menacing threat. And then the next scene is like saying, "Do you want some candy?" Really, like it's like what is pick one.
I don't think he's comic relief.
No. But I don't know. It's sometimes it takes me out of it a little bit where I'm like, doesn't quite have the same effect as like the laugh or other bits like that. But I will say I do like the fact that this Predator Ghost seems a bit more ruthless.
Yes.
To say the least.
Yes, he does because he definitely kills people who don't have weapons. Who have nothing to do with because one of his victims is of course Tony Pope, the investigator.
Yep.
He also kills a majority of the police.
Well, maybe he thinks that the camera is a gun.
All the gangs. Well, he checked that child's gun, but he didn't check the...
Yeah, but it would be something like the gun wouldn't be hot because it's got water in it, and the camera would be because it's electric.
Oh,
so
fair enough.
That's probably why.
Mistaken it.
Yeah.
He kills one of the police. All the gangs.
Yeah.
The Predator just wipes out all the gangs.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of a weird kind of... I don't want to get into much of this.
Go on.
But there's a comic... that back when Dark Horse Comics bought the licenses to Alien vs Predator, they did an Alien vs Predator comic after the film and whatever, but they also managed to get licenses with DC.
Okay. Yep.
So they started doing like Alien vs Superman, and they did a Batman vs Predator, and in that Batman vs Predator comic, there's a bit where there's a gang war, and Predator's the same thing here, just wipes out all the gangs. So because obviously that's fun. Predator is obviously very much against gang crime, which is good for Predator. Obviously, destroying organised crime.
Yep.
Shall we get some Pred trivia.
Yes, apparently,
trivia.
Often alluded, predators hunt is not for sustenance or elimination, as sportsmanship or rites of passage. They normally attack life forms that have the ability to provide them with a challenge.
Right.
So it's like if you have a weapon, you could be a challenge for them to defeat you. So they're going to try and defeat you.
It was in that same Batman versus Predator comic.
Yeah.
The Predator kills a boxer, a renowned world champion boxer, who has no gun.
Yeah.
He just has his fists.
Yeah.
But that's why the Predator sees him as a challenge, because he says he's the world champion.
Yeah.
And if he's the world champion, then he must be the biggest guy to take on.
Yeah.
So that's why Predator, you know.
Right. Predator or whatever it was. Predator trivia. What we got? The Jamaican Voodoo Posse gang seen in the film were based on actual gangs.
Can we just say that the name, the Jamaican Voodoo Posse gang,
Yeah.
is possibly either the greatest or the worst? But I'm sorry to any Jamaican Voodoo Posse gangs who are out there.
Yep.
Obviously, don't hit me with your Jamaican Voodoo. But
You're going to get a visit to Papa Legba soon.
oh no, the Jamaican Voodoo Posse gang doesn't really strike fear into the heart.
Or Baron Samedi.
Or Baron Samedi, or
Bring
whatever
bring us some rum, you'll be fine.
or whatever this guy's called, El Scorpio and King. What's his name?
Don't go near Crossroads, and if you do, have some rum with you.
King Willie.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of King Willie, obviously, of the Jamaican Voodoo Posse gang.
Gangs were based on actual gangs that are in New York City and Kansas City in the mid to late 1980s. The Jamaicans were not played by actors or stunt people, but real-life bouncers, apparently.
Oh no, okay.
The spear weapon that was used in the film disappeared and was reportedly stolen after the film was completed.
Ah, fair enough.
Kevin Peter Hall studied African tribal dances in order to get the feel and flexibility of the Predator and to give him some personality.
He does have a...
Arnold said no to Predator 2 because of the spirit of money. Apparently Arnold wanted an extra $250,000.
I haven't got that in the budget.
However, apparently then the director later stated it was due to scheduling conflicts. And apparently some of the Predator sounds were recycled from Tremors in 1990.
Oh, excellent. I like Tremors.
You ever seen Tremors?
I think I have seen
I haven't seen Tremors.
Oh. I have another fact for you.
Okay, go on.
Henry Kingi, who played El Scorpio, actually appeared in the first Predator film.
Oh, yeah.
As one of the insurgents pursued by Dutch.
Nice.
So maybe he's the same character. I don't know if he dies, maybe not. Maybe he survived if he got shot, and he came back to become El Scorpio.
After having the lower portion of his left arm cut off, the City Hunter was played in wide shots by one-armed stuntman R. David Smith.
Excellent.
There we go, look at this. And the subway attack scene was directly adapted from the first Predator comic series. The producers thought it was cool and wanted to use it in the film.
Oh, awesome. That is a great sequence when the light goes out and everyone's got a gun and the light goes out, but you see the
my initial
Predator
thought
moving through the car and he's like attacking everyone.
See, that happened, but they're on a train on the subway and then like everyone pulls out a gun and I'm ahead of thinking
it's Los Angeles.
I'm like, that seems, but I'm like, yeah, but if there's gangs around, I'm
You
like,
would need
yeah,
a
that
gun.
makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You
yeah,
would
that
need a
makes
gun on
sense.
It also reminds me of that bit in sort of that where like, you know, you see like the New York camaraderie of people sticking together.
Yeah.
Like LA, everyone's got a gun, pulls a gun out on the criminals, and you're like, yeah. But then the Predator just turns up and manages to wipe them out. So
Yeah, it does. Good old.
Right, again, let me tell you that the horror themes here are still prevalent.
Yes, they are.
And even in that bit where I'm just gonna look for a name because I've suddenly forgotten it.
Okay.
Leona Cantrell, this police officer, she escapes the train.
Yes.
And she's on the run on the platform on the side, and she doesn't know where Bill Paxton is.
Yep.
She's trying to find Bill Paxton, and the Predator gets to her just before, and there's such tension there where she's running, she's looking in the things, and the Predator could be in any one of these carriages, and she's looking for him, and you feel like the Predator is there.
Yeah.
But you feel like he's right behind her or something, or he's going to come up behind her or something. And there's a lot of tension there.
Yes.
And I like that. It's horror again, but what you don't see, it's about the tension.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what's in the dark, what's that scary thing over there, right?
Yeah. Eventually, Bill Paxton is found.
Yes. And Bill Paxton didn't make it.
No. He's currently on a wall somewhere.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He's on a plinth.
Mike finds him just out of time.
Yeah, just out of time.
Again, another great scene because it just shows the Predator being a bit more ruthless, a bit more
And it also gives Mike a bit more to go after.
Yes.
Because at the end of the film, like Dutch, how Dutch said he had a one-man vendetta against the Predator and he was going to find him and take him down.
Yep.
Here with Mike Harrigan, I feel like there was a point where he could like arrest the Predator. Like, you know, he's a cop. Yeah, but he's a cop who's like, he's a loose cannon, but he's by the rules.
Yeah.
And he's going, I'm going to have to take this guy down, you know. And I feel like that's great. He could have like arrested the Predator.
Yes.
But no, he wants to take down the Predator. But Gary Busey, he's back on the scene and he's got a plan. He's been tracking the Predator's movements using his. He's not the EA. He's some kind of special anti-alien task force or something.
Yeah.
He's sort of the special kind of CIA guy, Area 51 kind of special agent. He's investigating the alien, and he's here to capture the alien by using cryogenics to freeze him.
Because they go to Danny Glover like races it to like a
meat factory.
Yeah, and they're like, it comes to you every 2 days
to eat meat.
Because again, I guess it doesn't eat humans. It just
just
again, it's the sportsmanship. It just kills them. So,
exactly.
And then it's revealed that because again Mike turns up and Gabby's is like, right, okay, here's what's going on. You stay in here. We're going to go in there.
Capture him. Yeah, exactly. I do like he doesn't keep up. Gary Busey, he doesn't keep up the whole. I'm not letting you in on this. You can't. This is too big. When he gets there and actually manages to track the Predator the way the government are doing. He's like, right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what's happening. And we see a picture of Anna on the screen where he says there were 2 survivors in South America.
Yes.
Which means Dutch did survive.
Yep.
Dutch and Anna, because they're on the helicopter.
Yes.
They show a picture of Anna, but they don't show a picture of Dutch.
No.
Because obviously they didn't have enough money or scheduling rights for Arnie's face on a screen.
No, but he does get mentioned because Gary Busey does turn around and say like he's been seen before by a man in like the Vietnam forest or something. He mentions it before.
He says there were 2 survivors 10 years ago, which meant that Anna and Dutch managed to escape and got away and whatever. But when the Predator, if we didn't just skip forward a bit past the fight in the warehouse and the meat grinder and whatever, and the fight with the Predator. Also, the Predator like doesn't die 3 times.
Yeah.
I think they've got him, and he comes back. I think they've got him. They come back. Think got him. Comes back. He's such a horror villain at some point. The Predator. He said even when he's like lying down dead on the floor and he's sprayed out. And Mike goes over him and says, I finally got you. The Predator's like,
I had this conversation with a friend. I watched this film and I was like, the first one seems like just like a thriller where someone outsmarts the Predator and they just don't get him. And that's it. And I was like, the second film seems like they're trying to portray it more as like a Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees kind of thing keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Can't quite get it. Again, because also like the kill count. Hello, what's his name? James. Guy does the kill count.
Yeah.
The kill count in his 2 films are massively different. Literally, the first film, like the Predator kills 5, 6.
The commandos. Yeah.
In this, he's got to be.
He's on a street.
He's got to be high up.
Well, it's in the city. There's a lot of people. More people in the jungle.
Yeah, it is true.
There's less people in the jungle than in the city. He's got to go through more. Let's skip forward to the ending a bit, where he goes onto ground. He chases the Predator on the ground into the Predator's big spaceship. So when he arrives, the Predator's spaceship is sort of embedded under the city, and there's sort of lights in there, and it's very alien. He gets in through one of like the engine compartments or something, and comes inside, and it's all like orange there's all like writings on the wall. It's all very alien and stuff. And he's walking into the aliens. There's like smoke all on the floor. It's like pools of smoke on the floor. It's all yellow and orange. And he turns to see the aliens, the Utja's collection of skulls. And there's a xenomorph skull there. Did you see that?
I did.
Did you see that?
You can't miss it.
What I would give a lot to be in that theatre in 1990. Be watching that film with people who are watching it for the first time and see people's reactions to seeing the xenomorph skull.
Yeah.
How crazy must that have been? That's like the MCU. That's like, I know that's a pretty bad reference, but it's like that sort of connective tissue that the Predator films are in the same universe as the Alien films.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That he goes to the skull wall and there's a xenomorph skull, and that's not even the focus of the scene. Yeah. The focus of the scene is that he's been the Utja's been collecting his friends' skulls for the collection,
Yep.
Not that there's a xenomorph skull
Yeah.
there. And that's all I could look at. I wasn't even looking at any. I was just looking like, that's an alien skull, that's a xenomorph skull, that's a xenomorph skull.
Yeah. It's...
I think they hold on it for like 2 seconds.
They do, yeah.
But they're just showing you basically the vast collection of this predator.
Yep.
And it's not even like a feature of the scene. They just hold on it for a bit, and then you go, "Oh, that's the xenomorph skull."
Yep.
Which sets up the rivalry between the Utes and the xenomorph.
Correct. And then eventually Mike does manage to defeat Ghost, and then he defeats him with his own blade, his own weaponry, and then all these other predators just
the
turn
rest
up.
of the hunting party turn up,
And you're thinking, oh, this is it.
which does leave to imagine. Do you think that City Hunter or Ghost was the only one that was doing the hunting in Predator 2?
I have a feeling...
Or there's a theory there is multiple predators in that film.
I mean, it could be. I have a feeling he came to Earth and was like, right, I'm going to see what I can do. And then he eventually was defeated. And they were like, right, you've beaten our guy. We're going to take him back now. He wants, whatever.
And there are drafts of this film that include City Predator not being defeated or well, no, the City Predator being not killed by Harrigan, but instead killed by the Predator, the Elder Predator, the Predator leader, for failing in his mission or something to that effect.
But like they all turn up and you're thinking, oh, he's going to... And then they literally
there's quite a few of them.
There is a lot of them. They just pick up Ghost, take his body away, and then the leader stays and hands Mike a pistol.
Hands Mike an old pistol, and he says, take it.
Yep. Which is presumably, I'm assuming, like an old pistol from someone else they've defeated in 1715. Probably. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yes.
And Mike just gets a pistol. And maybe it turns up in the other films that come after this. I've got no idea.
No, well, it does turn up. It does turn up in another film after this, in another Predator film. But I'm not going to say which one it does turn up in. And yes, some of these predators do have names.
I know Greyback.
Okay, that's what I was going to mention.
Yeah.
I was going to mention Greyback, who is the elder predator here, and he is a part of the hunting party, which goes to. They have got names. Would you like me to name some of their names?
Can you? Are they easy to pronounce?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
The Greyback is the leader.
Yep.
There's Boar, Borg, City Hunter or Ghost.
Who's this one?
Guardian, Scout, Shaman, Snake, Stalker, and Warrior.
Nice. Okay.
There you go, and they've all got, and they're part of the Lost Tribe.
Right.
Which is the basically part of the Greyback's unit, and a part of the LA hunting party. Yeah. Which is, and they're part of a predator called most of them are Youngbloods, which is adolescent Ute. So basically, there's a lot of sort of sci-fi lore that goes into sort of the Predator Society. And I'm very high on that.
Yeah, this film, as much as to just give a bit of extra stuff to the Predator, maybe make him a bit more of a threat, or this film does seem to be more of like, we now want to do more with this.
Yeah.
So here's like a lot of like lore and a lot of like teasers to there is more to this now.
Yes.
We're like making it not only just a random alien, a whole load of them that have like a way that they do things and like a community and whatever. And they're now going to have a thing.
They all look different.
Yeah.
There's different styles of predators, different looks of predators. Yep. They've been around for a while. He had a pistol from 1718.
Yep.
They've got a ship that's been under the city this whole time.
Yep.
You know, they've got a culture and stuff, and they've been around for a while. This is the expansion of that.
Yeah.
Sort of, it's more than just, one alien who just appears and blows himself up.
Yes.
There's like a whole race. They're effectively a whole alien race of them. And I think it's just fantastic they're doing this.
And again, like I said before, it sets up other things.
I guess it sets up other things. And it's
Xenomorph.
The universe.
Yeah.
You can effectively put a Predator story anywhere now.
Yes.
The Predator 3 could have been in 1990. Could have been anywhere. Could have been Predator on a boat. Predator on a plane. Predator anywhere.
Well, it could have been.
And that's just an amazing concept to be able to set up your film universe. Also, I'm just going to note that Greyback, the Predator Elder's nickname, is the Golden Angel, and I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome, an awesome name.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the other thing as well, because like you had this, and it seemed to set up like so much stuff,
Yeah.
and then there wasn't anything for like
more than 10 years.
Yeah, because like I think the next film technically
Predators is 2005, I think.
Yeah, I think the first Alien vs Predator is before that. I think. Which obviously isn't like that's just a separate thing, but it still contains both of them. But yeah, so like literally, it's like years after, and it kind of feels like it was meant to be something before that.
Yeah, Alien vs Predator is 2004.
Yeah.
And Alien vs Predator 2 is 2007.
Right.
So it did take them 14 years to come up with something else, and it was Alien vs Predator, which is obviously expands on the more Predators and also the Xenomorph skull. Yeah. But we didn't get a direct Predator sequel until Predators, which was 2010. Just so you know, which we are planning to review. Hey. But moving on to let's get a real rating in the pan.
Right. So, I gave Predator 1 a 8.5, and I alluded to the fact that things we're doing in the future, I reckon that would be the highest. Right. So this is going to get less than an 8.5. Did I dislike this film? No, I thought it was fine. We had the discussion. You watched it before I did.
Yes.
And you messaged me, being like, Predator 2 was something.
It's quite something, yeah, because it's almost my... Sorry if I don't want to stutter. My reasoning was, this is very much a tonal shift from the first Predator film. This isn't set in a jungle, this isn't like a team of dudes, this isn't like... it's much more condensed, but also much expanded.
Yep.
It's like just one man's fight against... Well, obviously one man was like Arnie at the end.
Yeah.
This is like one man's fight, one man's justice crusade to find out who's solving these murders. Who is it? It's an alien.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of different tonal shift where it feels like almost you're watching a cop film with a Predator thrown in it.
Yeah.
The same way in First Predator, you're watching a Vietnam film with a Predator thrown in it.
Yeah.
You could almost do, and that's why I think it's the world so much expanded after Predator 2, because you could do anything. You could say have like a heist film with a Predator thrown in it.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. You can almost take any sort of film genre or film subgenre and put a Predator into it.
Yeah.
It makes sense somehow. Like, I'm willing this concept the fact this concept didn't go anywhere for like at least 10 years is baffling to me.
Yeah.
But what's your...
So, I liked it. And then I watched it and I said you the same thing. And I sent you a message saying... Yeah, it was something. To which you then replied, you've gained respect for this film.
I then replied, because of that reason, I then got, you know what, I've gained respect for Predator 2.
And then I gave it a day, and I was like, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually sunk in quite well.
But that's what it does. Predator 2 sinks in. You got to let the Predator sink into you. And which isn't a quote you need to take from this episode.
Nope.
But I feel like you need to let this film almost lie for a bit. And then you go, you know what? Yeah, there was actually.
Yeah.
There are great bits of this film. There are great bits of this film to be explored.
But I still preferred the first one.
Yes, yeah.
So I reckon for me this is going to be about a 7.5. So it's about a point less than the first one. Still good, still solid, just not as good. Mm-hmm. Maybe an 8 on a when we as we always do.
Yes.
Finish up the series and we go back and rank them all. It may get bumped to an 8, depending on how low or high the other ones end up being. But for now, 7.5.
I will give it a 7.
Okay.
Because yes, I enjoyed it. I think it was a good film. I had a good time with it. But I'm eager to see what's coming up, whether good or bad. And hopefully Predator 2 won't get lost in the shuffle, and it'll end up being on the high front rather than the low front.
Yeah.
Now let's touch on a weekly rec.
It's your turn.
It's my time for a weekly rec, and you'll be happy to know that I do have something in the pot for us.
Go on.
Now, I'm sure you're familiar with something that came up in 2020. You've got a PlayStation 4, haven't you?
I do. Okay.
You think you know what's coming?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Now, Predator is a great IP for exploring like You're in the jungle. You've got a big gun.
Yeah.
You're running through the trees.
Okay.
There's like an alien guy with an alien going after you.
Yep.
I'm recommending Predator Hunting Grounds.
Okay.
On
Nice.
On the PS4. I was going to actually recommend Predator Concrete Jungle, which used to be an old Xbox PlayStation 2 game.
Yep.
If you ever played that, which is great. I mean, that's like a third-person sort of Predator controller. But Predator Hunting Grounds is almost like a kind of... It's like your Dead by Daylights.
Yep.
You know, you got your team. You'll play Team of Commandos. Someone plays the Predator. That kind of thing. I almost want to go on like a Predator sort of video game tour. Because I don't know, I might recommend this later on in the Predator series.
Yeah.
But Predator also features in Mortal Kombat X, if you know this.
Yes.
And that's also a great feature of him. And I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. And the Predator's great for that. But no, right now I'm recommending Predator Hunting Grounds. So it's a multiplayer video game by Sony Interactive for PlayStation 4 and Windows. So you could play this if you wanted, Corey.
I could.
You could play Predator Hunting Grounds.
I could.
And it's basically that sort of, you know, third person. You get to play as Arnie.
Nice.
Arnie's back as Dutch. Arnie's back as Dutch. And you get a couple of characters turning up from the old film series. And yeah, the gameplay is basically, it's just like your Dead by Daylight.
Right.
It's just like your game where you play, one person plays like the big monster, and the other person plays the people who are running around trying to kill the monster.
Okay.
So one player will control the predators, or predator, and the other one will control the special operatives, who are known as Fire Team Voodoo, on a mission to collect intel and eliminate a drug lord.
Fire Team Voodoo.
Fire Team Voodoo. You're trying to collect intel and eliminate the drug lord in this compound or jungle, and meanwhile you're being hunted by the predator.
Right.
So you've got to avoid being hunted, or you've got to capture or kill the predator.
Right.
Right. Who's another player who's coming after you. Right. And I think that's a great, unique concept for a game. And the Predator was always born for this kind of design, this genre. So yeah, I'm recommending Predator Hunting Grounds. Watched a bit of gameplay over the weekend. I will give it another 7.
Okay.
I think.
Nice. Solid, that is.
Thank you. Hopefully you get a bit of, maybe you might be able to play it, get some gameplay for us.
I might. What's it called?
Interesting. Predator Hunting Grounds.
Predator Hunting Grounds.
Have a check up on that.
Predator Hunting Grounds. PS4. Predator Hunting Grounds. There it is. Boom, look at that.
They are excellent.
There it is.
Just to mention a couple of things, Alan Silvestri is back on the score for this film.
Nice.
With the Skywalker Symphony Orchestra. There we are. And home media. There's even a home media section here. Predator 2 was released on VHS and Laserdisc in 1991. And on DVD in 2003. Gosh, remember a DVD?
Yep.
Yeah, they did exist. And critical response got panned.
Yeah.
People did not like it. There was a lot of talk. I've got a little quote for you might be able to end on.
Okay.
The Washington Post, Rita Kempley, said that despite the dismal irony of RoboCop and the brooding fatalism of Blade Runner, Danny Glover brings an unusual depth to the action venture and proves fiercely effective as the Predator's new nemesis, which is a great put over of him. But Desson Howe said the film was blitheringly unoriginal, numbingly violent, but also praised Danny Glover's ability to bring warmth to the centre of a cold film.
Right.
So that might be your. However, famed film critic Roger Ebert gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, and said it was angry and ugly, and said that he didn't like the creature design, didn't like the predator design.
Right.
So there we are there, and I think the Predator 2 is it's the sequel that maybe we didn't quite need, but those last 10 minutes of the whole Predator society and all that just really gives the film a bit of a satisfying end to follow up onto hopefully bigger and better things. But we'll see in the coming months.
It does.
All right. Thank you very much for listening to our review of Predator 2. We're very excited to bring you more, maybe Predator-related content in the future.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's more films for us to talk about. Definitely. Thank you very much. It's a goodbye from me. Goodbye, and a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.